Hello friends, so today we will discuss about Bell's inequality. So this has been, many people have admitted that this is one of the most profound discoveries of science. The concept is really very easy, you don't need to understand quantum mechanics and higher physics for that. So basically, to start with, what is the EPR thought experiment? So basically, after the quantum mechanics revolution, there was a clash among physicists. Some physicists, like Einstein, they refused to accept quantum randomness because this was like too much for them. They couldn't accept the bizarre ideas of quantum mechanics. So these three people, Einstein, Podolsky and Rosen, are their PR by Einstein's colleagues. So they wrote a paper regarding the matter, and they wanted to prove that quantum mechanics is incomplete. Not wrong, but incomplete. That means they had the idea of some hidden variables. For instance, let's take an example. For instance, if we have a same source and we emit two photons in opposite direction, then we know, or say two electrons, an electron and a positron or something of the sort, then from quantum mechanics we know that if the spin of one of them is up say along the z direction or say y direction, whatever, then the spin of the other must be down. It must be down. This is true. Even you can derive this, you can get the idea if you know the basics of Pauli's exclusion principle. Now, but the thing is that once suppose this is the positron and this is the electron. So once they reach great velocity, suppose they reach, suppose the positron reaches here and the electron reaches here, and the distance is say 2 light years, for instance. Now, what is the basic postulate about quantum mechanics? That before we observe this, observe the particle, whatever it is, we cannot know anything about it, spin or whatever, we cannot know it. So let's say it is not observed at this point. So then both the spins are undefined. Undefined in the sense they're actually in a coherent superposition. This is a very important term. Coherent superposition of two possible states. They are at the same time neither spin up nor spin down, but a superposition of the states. Only on observation the wave function of the entire system will collapse to give me only a single outcome. So for instance, we have psi up, that is the wave function associated with the up spin, and then psi down. So the total probability of the system will be given by the addition, okay, of these two wave functions. So basically what happens, but there is a contradiction here. For instance, from special theory of relativity, you know that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. But here we have, now once the electrons reach 2 light years apart, suppose I measure this, I observe this electron, and on direct observation I collapse its wave function and say I measure this spin to be down, say down along some particular direction. That means immediately, without even observing the electron, the spin of this electron collapses to up. So that means something passes between the electron faster than the speed of light. So obviously this was, Einstein could not accept this because this seems to be in direct violation to special theory of relativity. Now to resolve this apparent paradox, either you have to assume this idea of hidden variable, or you have to get used to the idea of entanglement. Now what is entanglement? Basically, quantum mechanics, it describes a subatomic world, and we are used to Newtonian mechanics, we are used to the classical mechanics, the classical way of looking at the world. And moreover, obviously the subatomic world is busier and we are not used to it. But the thing is that in the subatomic world, the concept is that if these two systems have been released from a same state, that means they are entangled. The entire system, even if they are distributed over 2, 3 or infinite light years, infinite distance for that matter, but they will be described by a single wave function. Described by a single wave function. So that means the Schrodinger equation will give us a solution to the wave function. That's how these particles will evolve with time. But yeah, they will be described as a single wave function. That means this is basically this is the same system. So in such cases, the concept of distance, the faster the light travel, this will not hold. And anyway, information cannot be transmitted this way. This is only the information about the spin, but we cannot use this to for say faster than light communication or anything of the sort. So theory of relativity and special relativity will still hold. That is the point. Now the idea of hidden variable is wrong, and that is where Bell's inequality comes in. To start with the basic idea, what did Bell do? John Bell, he just used pure logic, and using that logic he just developed an inequality, not an equation, an inequality. So he assumed everything to be correct, he assumed everything as usual, but he took Einstein's condition for locality to be correct. Now if the inequality is violated, that must mean that Einstein was wrong. And yeah, in fact the inequality is violated. This has been verified experimentally. So for instance, if we have three tests, test A, there could be any test, I'm just giving you the idea. Test A, test B, test C. And suppose the result can be either 0, say fail, and 1, pass. So what are the different number of possibilities? Either 1, 1, 1, or 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, or say 1, 0, 1. There will be 8 possibilities in all. Obviously you can use mathematics to derive that. 0, 1, 1, then 1, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At last we will obviously have 0, 0, 0, and then we can have 0, 1, 0. So the thing is that thing is that if you see nicely, let us make 3 more columns. This is AB. I'll tell you what AB is. BC and AC. So AB means this is A and this is B obviously. So AB means whether the outcome in A and in B are similar or not. So in this case both are 1, so they're similar. We will write a S for that. BC, yeah, B and C are again similar. Anyway, they all will be similar. All are 1. AC is again similar. And now come to in the next part. AB is similar. Both are 1. BC, B and C 1 and 0. They are not similar. So they are different. Let's write a D for that. AC 1 and 0. They are again different. SDD. Similarly, in this case, AB will be different. BC will again be different. AC will be similar. In this case, AB will be different. BC will be similar, and AC will again be different. In this case, AB will be different. BC will be similar. Yes, and AC will be different. In this case, AC will be similar, both are 0. Sorry, AB will be similar here. BC will be different, and AC will also be different. And in this case, AB is different, BC is different, however AC is similar, and in this case again all are similar. So the thing is that you see, in these 2 cases, so all are similar, so you forget that. In these 6 cases, you see at least 1 is similar in all the cases out of 3. So that means minimum we have 1/3 probability of getting similar outcomes, right? Minimum 1/3 probability. So this kind of experiment was done using polarization filter. For instance, I have a polarization filter like this. It is like vertically oriented. Suppose I have light here, unpolarized light. So if I pass that light, the light will come out to be vertical, right? Suppose I have a horizontal polarizer and I pass light through it, and then I have a vertical polarizer behind that, and I pass. So once the light comes out from the horizontal polarizer, it will be horizontal. And then if I pass that horizontally polarized light through the vertical polarizer, nothing will come out. But this is the here's the catch. Suppose I have a horizontal polarizer and a vertical polarizer, and vertical. And in the middle, if I put in a polarizer, say inclined at 45-degree angle, like this angle is 45 degree, then some amount of light will come out to the last polarizer. Some amount of light will come out. So anyway, I am not going into the details of the polarization concept, but this is how you can experiment it. Suppose we can have 3 polarizers and we can have 2 observers who can randomly pick up any of 1 or 3 polarizers, and we can fire light from a same source to 2 opposite directions. So that means if we do this experiment for enough number of times, say for 90 times, that means at least 30, 1/3, right? So in at least 30 cases, we must get a similar outcome. But but in reality, this experiment has been done many times, not just once, and the results were not 1/3. So that means Bayes' inequality is violated. And yeah, I am not telling this based on a single experiment. Many numerous times, for instance, that aligned aspect group, and even it has also been verified that particles like separated through space-time can remain entangled. So quantum entanglement, it's a bizarre concept. It's hard to digest. I know that, but it's true nevertheless. So this is violated, and in all experiments is violated. That means Einstein was wrong. Quantum mechanics is not incomplete. There is the hidden variable concept is wrong. So what did they assume, Einstein and all? They assume that whenever I am firing those 2 electrons from in opposite direction, electrons or positrons, whatever, that means they have some hidden variables in them which will define their that means their spins were already predetermined. Maybe God or something. That's the idea of determinism. Somebody has already predetermined the spins. I mean, from the beginning only, suppose this spin was up and this down. This is the concept. But yeah, this concept cannot be true. So that means there is only one other option. We must like accept the idea of quantum entanglement, and that's the conclusion. So Bell he chose to interpret his results that like nature is non-local. So what is nature is non-local? Obviously locality is true. Obviously we don't live in a world where voodoo and all those things work. But the thing is that nature is non-local doesn't mean it's nothing spooky or anything. Like in many people will tell you that it's spooky, accident, disorder. Those are just words. Actually, scientifically speaking, there is nothing spooky. It is this idea seems new to us, seems strange to us, but after all, this is how the new scientific era is going to look like. After all, whether nature is non-local or not, there may be some other possible interpretation maybe of this experiment. But yeah, quantum mechanics, there is no hidden variable compatible with quantum mechanics, and the hidden variable idea was completely incompatible. Actually, Einstein wanted to describe everything by using pure geometry alone. Obviously, that's not possible because you can't ignore quantum mechanics if you're trying to if you're trying to achieve grand unification between all the four fundamental forces of nature. And once we do that, obviously we'll be able to describe in a single theoretical picture how all the possible interactions that is possible in this universe. And once we do that, obviously that will be a big step forward for physics. But obviously that's nothing near the end. This is only the beginning. So that's all for today's video. Thank you very much.